Thank you, Daniel. And now I would like to invite Janet Toews to come up to lead us off on the homilies and reflections on covenant group experiences. So.
Water here. Oh. Okay. I'm not sure this is a homily. It's probably more of a meandering of my thoughts. Sometimes that happens. You know, I am so humbled when I come to church today, and I remember the wonderful training we had yesterday. It was just the people we trained. Wow. I will say that, you know, remember Fred Cappuccino and his wife? Well, she would say when a baby was put in her arms, "This is the most beautiful baby in the world." Well, I think I will start calling the facilitators. They are the best facilitators in the world. Okay, so here it is, Friday a.m., and lots of thoughts have been racing across my mind. What did I experience during the courses I took with Andrea on facilitating and the courses later with Barb Rudick and Craig Edwards on leadership? These are part of what enabled me to feel I could facilitate a group. This was back in 2019, getting us ready for the first covenant group in our church in 2020. I was eager to participate. Butterflies about not getting it right. Fear was there as well. I know what happens when I stress out and start being snarky. I know. People have told me. It's not good. Fast forward to Saturday afternoon, where once again I am flooded with memories. Memories of a very good morning with the new crop of facilitators. I have now suddenly morphed into training them. It's not what my intention, but this is what happened. The warmth and eagerness of their welcome, their interest, their enthusiasm, their questions. I just loved it. Barb Rudick was my very important sidekick in this training. We emphasized creating a safe space for the participants to share, to pass, maybe next time, maybe next month. To give participants time to reflect before speaking. To give facilitators time for deep listening. We talked about following a spiritual path. That this might be a catalyst to do that. And of course, spiritual paths are different for everybody. Now, on to why I enjoy this so much, in case you haven't gotten the drift. I am thinking it has to do with wanting to connect on a deeper level with members of our community. I have been immersed in very practical matters in our church: bookkeeping, ordering supplies for the kitchen, being a cashier for our yard sales, which I also enjoyed. Deep down, I must have felt unsatisfied. During the women's group time in our church, and here is a member of the women's group, and maybe there's some others scattered here, I was fully involved in the monthly get-togethers eventually, and chaired the very last retreat meetings we held annually. Oh, no, that's not the meetings. We held the last retreat here, and I chaired those meetings. I wanted to get back to that and maybe something more. It was a lovely time. Lovely time. And I knew it was up to me. The community was offering courses. Well, of course I would take them. Nothing to lose, everything to gain. It has been an adventure, one I cherish. I have often said, when I get to know someone, either through committee work, taking a course, I can no longer really become upset with them. It is just not in me to do that. Of course, this did not just happen. I learned, as I often do, observing, asking questions, even looking in the dictionary for the meaning of words. Forming my way of creating a safe space, creating a calm space, creating the joy of wanting to get to know another, and giving others room to do the same. It also became clear that we needed to give the facilitators some structure, but also to research other sources and share them with us, which ultimately leads them to be flexible with their group. This was a learning curve, and it will continue to be a learning curve. We trust this will work its way into our monthly get-togethers. So always something to learn. When one listens to others, this will happen. I have often been brought back to a stark reality during a session when someone would dare to want to do what I did not want. Usually, this was laughed about. And again, a learning moment. Other times were simply quiet aha moments. One other point I wanted to touch. This year, I've become aware of how these covenant groups can foster a strong community. I am starting to look at this work as a tool that can be used to strengthen an already strong community, as I feel we are. These groups during the time of COVID and lockdowns were a connection that became more and more important. It felt good to be able to see each other and smile or grouse. I cannot emphasize the importance of keeping good connections. This might be called loving and caring, concern for the other. Now, last but not least, there will be a sign up somewhere, I'm not sure exactly where, in the back of the church. And you're welcome to just look for me and welcome some sign-ups for participants. I'm hoping that, I trust we will, I'm not hoping. I know that we'll do a good session this year. Thank you.
Thanks, Janet. And now we're going to have Christina Swindells-Nader come and share her experiences with covenant groups.
Good morning. My name, as Norm said, is Christina Swindells-Nader. My pronouns are she, her. I moved with my family to Winnipeg in August 2021 for my partner's work. We'd moved to Toronto from Vancouver 5 years earlier for the same reason, and knock on wood, we're planning to be here in Winnipeg at least until our youngest kid finishes high school in 2029. The pandemic made everything about the move from Toronto to Winnipeg a bit harder than the move from Vancouver to Toronto. Sorry, Toronto to Winnipeg, Vancouver to Toronto, yeah. But I knew from that earlier move that my kids would likely adjust quickly, while it would take me more time to feel rooted in a new community. I knew that connecting with people was one of the key ways I would make that shift. I'd also been feeling a pull to find a faith community, and Unitarian Universalism seemed like a good match. Reading the church's website, there was a quote by Glenn Turner at the top of the Covenant group page that really resonated. People come to church longing for, yearning for, hoping for a sense of roots, place, belonging, sharing, and caring. People come to a church with a search for community. That led me to email Andrea James, then the Director of Lifespan Faith Development here. I asked if the covenant groups were an appropriate setting for someone entirely new to Unitarian Universalism. She said yes, and thanks to the archiving might of Gmail, I'm going to quote her here. Covenant groups are a good way to get into the community, especially because they provide an intimate space where you'll get to know people. So I signed up for a group from October 2021 to June 2022, and it was so meaningful to me that when facilitators were needed last fall, I signed up again to co-facilitate a group with Diane Pierce from last October to last June. Being part of both groups has been a wonderful way to connect with this congregation and with Unitarian Universalism, to connect with themes and ideas, and to connect with the ongoing work of truth and reconciliation. At the beginning of each year, each covenant group co-creates a covenant that supports our monthly discussions. The covenants for both groups I've been in have encouraged meaningful sharing and deep listening, where we focus intently on what another person is saying without interruption and without simultaneously formulating a response. I'm generally much more comfortable listening to and seeing other people than being listened to or seeing myself, but I know both are needed for connection. The group covenants supported me in getting a bit uncomfortable in a way that was challenging but not distressing. The format of the groups also helped me with speaking and sharing my experiences. After checking in, we ease into the monthly theme with a reading and a wisdom story, and then sharing readings from the common bowl that spoke to us, before delving deeper into questions that will elicit thoughtful discussion and significant reflection. The group I joined in 2021 was super welcoming to me as a newcomer, and by the second or third meeting, I felt seen without feeling exposed, and that I was meaningfully getting to know the other members of the group through what we all shared. That first winter for me in Manitoba was a particularly hard one, with the Omicron wave happening and constant extreme weather alerts on my phone. And I found connecting monthly with the Covenant group made that very long winter a bit easier. Each time we met, I felt myself kind of getting more rooted here. The group service projects led me to learning how to help with Zoom and later hybrid services, which then led a few months later to joining the Sunday Services Committee. This past year, our Covenant Group Service Project meant being part of the spring church cleanup and running tours of the building for Doors Open Winnipeg. All of this connecting with the congregation started for me with Covenant groups. Kristen Green has a prayer before annual meeting on the UUA website that Barb Rudick shared yesterday at our training that Jenna was talking about. And it captures some of the intent of covenant groups really well for me. It reads in part, "May we view each other as partners, comrades, friends on the journey, headed in a direction together toward wholeness." The discussion material for the covenant groups comes from the Touchstones Project, based in the United States. And for the most part, the readings they pull together really do seem to support covenant group participants in that journey toward wholeness. Because I was a total newcomer to Unitarian Universalism, I initially wondered if Readings from the Common Bowl was a publication, maybe from the UUA, and whether I should get a copy. After some Googling, I realized no, the Common Bowl is the metaphorical vessel of human ideas, and more of a salad bowl than a melting pot. I've found listening to other participants share the readings that spoke to them really brings new perspectives on them and enriches and deepens what we share when we get into the more personal and challenging questions near the end of each session. When we extinguish the chalice at the end of each session, we read words from Elizabeth Sell Jones. "We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again." I've found myself carrying the ideas from Covenant Group in both my heart and my head, and it enriches my life. There's a poster on the bulletin board near the dining room about how to be an ally to Indigenous peoples. One of the suggestions is to slow down and listen more than you talk. Notice where you are. Covenant groups support practicing that kind of listening and grounding and getting better at it. The themes of each session and the questions have been part of my ongoing grappling with truth and reconciliation, and the relationship of Indigenous and Euro-descendant peoples here in Winnipeg and across our continent. Themes like reverence, healing, power, trust, grief, reconciliation have all encouraged discussions in our monthly meetings that are part of this ongoing work. Sharing about these ideas and, more importantly, listening deeply to others' experiences and insights has led to going deeper into the ideas than I would have on my own. The way the different voices and perspectives of participants weave together, the way we learn together and grow, is a wonderful thing to be part of, especially when we're working through big feelings and ideas. And I hope any of you who find this appealing join us this year. And now, Paula Keirstead will share her voice and her experiences with us.
Good morning, everyone. So nice to look out into the crowd and see so many faces. As far as I see, you all look great. So, of course, I've been reflecting on this theme all week, and I have been a participant in the Covenant group, and then I became a co-facilitator as well. And there's a distinction. I know when I became a participant, I really felt I could relax and let myself be open to all the readings and material that were handed out, but to other people as well. I didn't have to, worry about having the right words to say or worry about, giving a certain message. I could relax and be present to the other people. And to me, that was such a pleasure because it meant that I opened up to myself as well. And as I got feeling more safe and trusting in the group, I would share more about who I really am and who I'm really not. And that felt safe. So it was a welcoming group. And I got to know some of my fellow congregants better in more detail. And then when I facilitated, I took on the role of wanting to, actually it's a privilege to take on a role that you try to set an atmosphere and a process that makes others feel welcome and safe. To be allowed to play that role as a facilitator and open the door for others to express who they are is a real gift. It's not hard. It means you get out of yourself a little bit and get to where others are. That is a privilege. So I've done a lot of facilitating in my career. It was great, though, to apply it to a community that I wanted to be part of. So the other avenue that I pursued here at this church quite early on in my beginnings is being part of the choir. And for me, singing allows me to touch my soul. It allows me to get out of my physical self, to connect spiritually with the universe, whatever the heck that means. But for me, it really lifts me beyond the physical world. And with apologies in advance, I would like to share a little song with you that says a lot about who I am. Cover your ears if you need to. I believe that children are our future. Treat them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity. Because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. And if by chance that special place that you've been dreaming of leads you to a lonely place, find your strength in love. Thank you.